Welcome to a new video series. This one is entitled Working with Strings. A string is simply a sequence of characters. The tidyverse includes functions for working with strings. Often you'll want to use these functions while you are tidying data and data wrangling, but they're useful for other situations as well. First, let's talk about creating strings. You can create a string with single or double quotes. There is no difference as far as R is concerned. Note, though, that R converts to double quotes, so I recommend using these. Let's take a look. Here's string 1 with double quotes. Here's string 2 with single quotes, but notice when we look at these, both string 1 and string 2 have double quotes. So you might as well begin by using double quotes. If you want, however, to quote within a quote, that is within a string, use double quotes within single quotes. So here's a string, then I heard him shout, "Hey!" to get my attention. And you'll see that the double quotes are used just like they were with string 1 and string 2 to define this as a string. But notice what's happened to the quoted material inside the string. The downhill slash is used to indicate a quote mark within a string. When we view these strings, we'll see the slash, but if you want to see the content itself with the slash converted, use the WriteLines function. So here on line 27 in my script, I'm using WriteLines, string 3, and now you can see, then I heard him shout, "Hey!" Hey is in quotes, the rest of this is not. So you can see how it would appear as printed out text. But for storage, we use the backslash with a quote in order to indicate a quote within a quote. Here I'm putting one quote mark within a string. We may want to use a quote mark in a string, so we can do that with the downhill slash and the quote. Notice when I WriteLines this, I just get a quote mark. So downhill slash quote is the internal abbreviation for a quote mark within a string, which always is going to be represented internally in R with double quotes. Since the downhill slash is used to indicate special characters, we need two of them to indicate a slash in a string. So here I'm creating string 5, and I want to indicate a downhill slash, so I can indicate a downhill slash by using another downhill slash to say, hey, this is a special character, a downhill slash. Let me show you what I mean. The downhill slash, here it is, the double slashes, but notice what happens when I WriteLine it. It's a single slash. Why? Because the first downhill was to indicate we have a special character, and the second downhill indicated what that character was. So hopefully you see the similarity there with when we did quotes. Downhill slash and quote indicated we're using a special character in our string. It's a quote. Downhill slash, we're using a special character in our string. It's a downhill slash. So when you see one downhill slash that says, attention, a special character is coming. So let's do another one. Here we're using a special character N to indicate a new line. So look at this string. I want to leave class, downhill slash N. I want to leave now, downhill slash N. Please let me leave. And if I look at that string, you see the downhill /n, but if I see how it's going to be written out, it's written out like this, 3 separate lines. I want to leave class. I want to leave now. Please let me leave. And just like downhill /n gives us a new line, we use downhill /t to indicate a tab. Here is a string. Here is item number 1, colon, downhill /t, shoes. Downhill /n for a new line. Here is item number 2, colon, downhill /t, socks. So put this together. Here's the representation within R of the string, but when we use the WriteLines function, here's how it prints out. So strings are created with either single quotes or double quotes. To include a quote in a string, use downhill /single quote or downhill /double quote. To include a backslash in a string, use \\. To include a new line in a string, use \n. And to include a tab in a string, use \t.